And once they had completed their spacewalk, the next thing in their task was to actually fly the LEM. So Jim McDivitt and Rusty Schweickart got behind the controls of their lunar module Spider. They called it Spider because it's what it looks like. And undocked, they released themselves from the command module Gumdrop. The Dave Scott called it Gumdrop because when it arrived from North American, the company that built it, it was all wrapped in blue plastic, and that's sort of what it looked like. So the two spacecraft start to drift away from each other. They deliberately drift it away, and Jim McDivitt rolls Spider around just as they would do in a lunar mission, so that Dave Scott, the command module, could inspect their landing gear to make sure that nothing was broken and that it was all working perfectly. And that was when the famous lines, Dave Scott says, "That's a nice looking machine." Says, "So is yours. It doesn't handle like an F-86, I'll tell you that, but it really does fly." They continue to move away from each other until they get to a safe distance. And then Jim McDivitt fires the descent engine on the lunar module and moves them away 110 miles from Dave Scott and the command module. Then once they had gotten out of that distance, they shut down, turn around, blow the descent stage off, and just this half the length comes back, and Rusty Schweickart looked down from his window and saw this golden descent stage just planing away, and he said, "There goes half our spacecraft." So they make the rendezvous and return to Dave Scott in the command module, come back in, blow the LEM. It burns up in the atmosphere. It'll orbit for years, and then it'll slowly drop towards Earth until it burns up in the atmosphere. And just before they cut the LEM loose, Jim McDivitt notices that Rusty Schweickart is sitting there looking really quite sad. He says, "Are you coming, Rusty?" And Rusty Schweickart sort of looks up at him and he says, "I don't suppose they'll let anybody back up that they think's going to get sick." He said, just basically said, I don't know, Rusty, I don't know." Says there's a sad little moment when Rusty Schweickart realises that he's never going to get to do this again. So a thing I always find about Apollo 9 is that it's a very sad mission for quite a lot of reasons. But anyway, they get back inside the command module, cut the LEM loose, and come home, and that was basically the Apollo 9 mission. A great mission, proved the LEM was 100% successful, and cleared the next mission, Apollo 10, to take the LEM all the way to the moon. And that's the next story.